As practice with Boolean indexing, I want to check which of the chords in the Spotify dataset is associated with the highest median valence. So valence, I don't know how common this word is. I had never heard it before in this context, but in the context of the Spotify dataset, this refers to positivity or how happy the song is. So just as an example, here is what the chord column looks like in the Spotify dataset. So if you check how often do these different chords occur, hey, you can get some sense for this. And if I ask, what's the shape of this? Okay, it's length 12. So there are 12 possible chords, and I want to know which of those chords has the highest median valence. Okay, so let's try that. So just as an example for using one of these, let's use, how about the B chord? So I can say bf.chord equals B. Make sure to put it in strings or in quotation marks so that it's a string. And then this gives me a Boolean series, and I can put this inside of df, so df square brackets, and then this will be saying keep the 0th row, keep the 3rd row, drop the 1st row, drop the 2nd row, and so on. Okay, so here we can see the 0th has been saved, the 3rd has been saved, and so on. And so this gives me the sub-data frame consisting of all of those rows where the chord is the chord B. Okay, great. And I don't really care about that whole data frame. All I care about is the valence column. So one way I can get this is think of this part as a data frame. Sorry, I didn't highlight it correctly. Think of this part as a data frame. And then if I put valence in here, that's saying get the valence column from that data frame. Okay, and then if I say, let's see, maybe I'll keep this here and then do this in a new cell. And then if I say dot median, and there's really no advantage to saying axis in this case because there's only one axis. Okay, so there's no potential for confusion. Okay, and here I get that the median valence for this is 0.543. And if you remember from a previous video, we had 0.512 for the overall valence. So this seems to suggest that the B chord is a little happier or a little more positive on average than the typical song in this Spotify dataset. Okay, so that's good. And how can I convert this into something that works for every chord, not just the B chord? Well, here's one way to do it. Let's make a dictionary. So let's call it, how about valence dictionary? And I'm going to start with just an empty dictionary. So it's not obvious if these curly brackets with nothing inside, it's not obvious if that should be an empty dictionary or an empty set, but it turns out in Python this is treated as an empty dictionary. And then, for example, here if I want to put B corresponds to 0.543, how I can do that is I can say valence dictionary square brackets B. Okay, so that's saying for the key of B, I want the value to be this. And now if I check what does this valence dictionary look like, you can see that there's this key B and this value 0.543. So just how can I do this a little more systematically? So let me copy and paste this, and let's use a for loop. And so I could do for, how about chord in df.chord. And then I want to replace everywhere that we see this B string, I want to replace that with chord. okay, with this variable chord. And this would work, although it would be like way more inefficient than it needs to be, because this is going to be going through all 1,545 values in this chord series. So really, I only want to go through each of those values once, like each unique value once. So good way to do that is to use this unique method. And then let's check. Okay, and you can see there's maybe a little bit of numerical precision issue here. Like, I'm sure this isn't actually the median. I'm sure it's just supposed to end at this 5 here, but that works pretty well. Okay, great. And so what I originally wanted was, what's the maximum? So, like, what's the maximum? What chord is associated with the maximum value? So I can find all the values in here by typing dot values and then parentheses. And then I can take the maximum of this. There might be a faster way to do this, but this is one way. Okay, so there's this 0.609. And so I want to know what chord is associated with 0.609. And here's one way that comes to my mind to do this. I can say for each chord in df.chord.unique. Oh, and I'm missing the for chord. So this is just another way to get all of those chords. But then let me say if valence dictionary chord, okay, if that's equal to this maximum. So let's maybe save that maximum. How about with capital M? Okay, just so it's not recomputing the maximum every time. And so then this is saying, give me the list of all of the chords if the median valence for that chord is the maximum. So this is telling me the maximum, the one that produces the maximum. And if you don't like it being in a list, if you want it to be a string, you could just put square bracket 0 on the outside. And that's the chord that has the highest median valence. And let's just quickly look and check. Does that F sharp, G flat, does that correspond to 0.609? Yes, it does. Okay, that's all I'll say in this video. Thank you for watching.